How's it going, New World? Sethphir here, and we are back in another video today. This time we will be talking about faction missions, faction points, and what you're gonna buy with those points. But more importantly, I am gonna show you the single most overpowered spot in the game for getting faction points. So make sure to be on the lookout for that, and let's go ahead and dive right into a few things. But first, let's kind of talk about what faction points are, I guess, just a brief overview. But essentially, faction points are just like a reward currency, kind of like gold that you would get from a lot of resources. Mainly, these come from corrupted portals. You do get faction points when you close them. They also come from faction missions, whether that be PvE or PvP faction missions. So these are probably some of the more prime sources to get these points. You also get faction mission points for completing a war or an invasion, as well as killing any player in like open world PvP. So those are the places that you are going to obtain these from. So just like a brief overview from that and how to do so. And then we're going to dive into like first and foremost, what can you even spend these points on, or why would you want to spend them, right? Aside from the obvious. So let's go ahead and take a look over at the New World database now. And shout out to Jill once again for letting us use all this great information source. And if you haven't seen the site, make sure to check it out because it is quite awesome. So with that, we'll hop on over. All right, and here we are on the New World database website. You can check that out if you want. I'll leave a link in the description. But we'll go over a few things here. As you can see, we have an item up on the screen, and we will get to that here in just a moment. But first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and state the obvious that there are faction gear available in the shop that are at 550 gear score. So you're probably going to want to pick these up as they're epic and most likely better than the gear that you will have when you first hit level 60. So that's a pretty general one. I think everyone will see and know that. So we're going to be focusing more on what you're going to be purchasing a lot of in the future, especially at level 60 in the end game. And so this is an item, the Masterwork Material Converter, that will allow you to convert a tier 5 refining material into another tier 5 refining material. So not all the refining materials are used at the same rate. There is a higher demand for certain things like flux and sandpaper. Sometimes the market can also be different, so this is a great item to use to kind of buy up a material that's low on the market and convert it into something else and flip it for a profit. So keep that in mind, that this will be very ideal for that type of situation. So if you're looking to make some gold, this could help you with that endeavor. It will basically just transform like however many. I think each converter does up to, I'm actually not sure. Maybe it's up to 10. Don't quote me on that, but it will convert like a set amount of that material in there. So you're going to have to buy multiple of these converters in order to kind of really see the ability to transform all of one item in your inventory into another. But this is definitely a good one to keep an eye out on. It's a good faction point dump, because what happens after you get your gear is that you end up with faction points and like no way to spend them. So this is a nice thing to keep your eye on for sure. So we'll go ahead and go to the next item here, and that is going to be an Asmodeum Chisel. And this one's legendary. Ooh, special. As you can see, it costs quite a lot. 7,000 faction tokens and 750 gold, so this is quite pricey. What the heck is this item? This item is used to make tuning orbs. This makes the Lazarus Instrumentality tuning orb. And as far as I know, that's the only instance that requires this one, so that's why it's so pricey. This is something that you will probably be buying a lot of, especially if you plan to do in-game dungeons and try to get some of those really solid legendary drops and items that are quite powerful. So keep that in mind, that this is another item that you will probably be buying a lot of at level 60. The next one is going to be this Grand Rune of Holding. This is the highest level bag rune that you need in order to make tier 5 bags. It does cost 7,000 faction tokens as well as 1,500 gold, so quite a lot. So anybody who wants to make a bag will require a Rune of Holding, which there are several difficulty scalings of this. So this one's purple. There is a blue one, a green one, and a white one that will make lower capacity bags. But this is the one you'll probably be focusing on in the end game so that you can create a bag, but not only create a bag with good perks, which will be the more important part. Not all bags are created equal, and some of them are honestly twice as good, if not 5 times as good as the other bag. Depends. Does it have luck on it? Does it have extra holding weight? You know, what are you going for there? So you're probably going to be buying a lot of these and giving them to crafters so that they can attempt to roll you a powerful bag. The next item on our list is going to be powerful Blight Elixir. I will note that this is in the second highest rank of the faction shop. The items previous should be in the highest rank of the faction shop, the other two. I believe that the Masterwork Material Converter is also in the second highest rank of the shop. So I might be a little off on that, but you can check around yourself in game and see where they're at. But you do need the faction ranks in order to purchase these items. But this one is just a good Blight Elixir, right? So it's gonna absorb Blight. If you don't know what Blight is, it's a terrible affliction. Oh, it's so bad. It poisons you for like 2 minutes, and you basically die like 7 times over if you don't cure this illness. And you'll just be sitting there chugging pots and like setting in a campfire trying to rest to recover your HP, and you're like, why am I dying? This is awful. But yeah, Blight is terrible. So having a potion on you to remove the Blight affliction and just to give you resistance to it will allow you to access some of the zones in Eden Grove that are covered in Blight. There are enemies that shoot Blight, they explode with Blight, and I'm predicting that this will be quite a big mechanic in the future, especially for some high level, if they do add like higher level bosses and things like that in the game, as it's kind of like a thing in alchemy. They make this like corruption and Blight resistant potions and stuff like that. So I would imagine that they would give us a use for this at some point in time. So this is a place where you can get those cheap without having to do Arcana. You don't need to do it at all in order to do this. You could just buy it and go. They're pretty inexpensive, so it's a nice thing to stock up on. And then here we see its counterpart. Same deal, but for corruption. Corruption, just basically while you're in the corrupted area, you have a resistance bar. If that resistance bar hits 0, you take a big tick of damage, and it's like 1,000 plus, depending on your health and scaling and all that stuff and your resistance to corruption. So this can hurt quite a lot. So definitely having these corruption elixirs is very important. And in order to survive in Mirgard level 65 portals or any level 65 greater portal, you need this. You will just straight up die to the corruption around if you don't have resistance on your armor, if you do not have the potion on you. So purchasing a couple of these to continue doing portals will be pretty standard in the end game for everybody. You can also create them with alchemy. You can even create more powerful versions with alchemy, but this is a cheap way to kind of get these materials and these items without getting too much, invested in crafting. Then we will look at the smaller version of the Asmodeum Chisel, which is going to be the Star Metal Chisel and all that good stuff. These are just a couple of things like the lower versions that I was mentioning before. And then one final note is that you can get healing potions in the third, let me see, it's the second or third version of the shop that will basically allow you to get some kind of cheap health potions if you're really starving on it. I wouldn't really recommend this. I would recommend crafting weak health potions with Arcana. But, hey, it's there. Take it if you want it. So on the next part of this, we will go into the secret location. Maybe it's not so secret. I thought it was pretty secret. I found it in the beta, and I shared it with a lot of people. And it's definitely a great spot. For sure, it is by far the best spot in the game to get faction points. Hands down, you cannot beat this spot. There's no better spot. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. All right, here we are on the New World Map website. So shout out to Redbird and the guys at Studio Loot for once again letting us use these resources. They are fantastic, and we definitely think that this will be a staple, and anybody looking to do in-game content, you're definitely going to want to look at this map and check around. So make sure you look at those things. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at here. This is Great Cleave, as you can see on the map. This is going to be the location of the best spot in the game for faction points. So you're going to go to this Eastburn outpost right here on the east side of Great Cleave. And what you're going to do is you're going to take all 3 of the faction PvP missions. And once you do that, they're going to have 3 types of missions. So the first one is going to ask you to collect a box. And when you collect that box, it's going to tell you to go to a second location to collect a second box. That's pretty standard with all the faction PvP missions. There is another one that will want you to cut down a little bit of wood, probably like 50 or something like that, and it can come from any tree. The third mission is just to spend time in a certain area, right? And we've all seen these missions before. Why is this OP? Okay, this is OP because, as you can see, here's the outpost on my mouse. Now, if we go up here and we walk up this path, as soon as you enter this area, or if you want to go this side path, which I do recommend, because it does have Earth Crag, and Earth Crag gives you Loamy Lodestone, which is a high-level resource used to make the rune stones, which is able to craft you tuning orbs, right? So that might be a lot of information, but just know Loamy Lodestone, everyone's going to want this. They're going to be buying it on the market. They're going to be trading it. It's going to be fantastic. So if you want, you can go up this path, pick up these nodes if they're spawned, and then continue up here. But when you get to this road, as soon as you enter this area where it says Beast 44 on this right side, you are technically in the zone for that you need to control. So it's going to start counting down the timer here. And you're going to see you need to be in for 1 minute and 30 seconds. What you do is you follow this mouse, you run up over here to right where this point is, right where I'm moving around. And on the right side, you can see that there's just like a little dead end spot. This is where the box is, the first box. You pick this up. By this time that you've picked it up, you're halfway done with the mission that requires you to stay in the area. You're going to run directly over here below this beast cave. Right in this area right here is a bunch of woods. You can just pick up trees, any tree along the way. It all counts in this area. And you will get that 50 or whatever wood is required while getting time in the zone. So check your time in the zone. Make sure you have the mission up there. And it should show you, it should be counting down. And by the time you get there and do that and get all your wood, you're pretty much done with that timer. Then it's going to want you to run slightly farther south to get this location right here. You see this little outline of this building. There's going to be a box right here. And I think it's roughly in this area. I might not be 100% accurate, but it's somewhere around here. There's a little box that you have to pick up for the second part of that first box quest. And once you have that, you are done. And as you can see, that's so close to each other. Just boom, boom, boom. Then you head south. You can pick up these things. These are salamander snails. I marked them because they're actually quite nice. It will give you the epic salamander snail, which is used in a lot of Arcana high-end recipes. And if you do not get the snail, you will get fire motes, which motes are really good. A lot of people pass these up and don't hold on to them, and they get a lot, and they're like, yeah, I don't need those. Yes, you do. You need every single one for Arcana. Do not make that mistake. So you can pick up a couple of these and then head back towards the town. So I was able to complete this route in 4 minutes and 15 seconds with some mobility mechanics. There is an internal timer of 5 minutes from which you can take these PvP quests and accept them again. And here's the kicker. You can just take it again. So you can come back to this town and on a 5-minute cooldown timer, because that's the bare minimum that the game allows you to accept these PvP missions, you can just grab this again and you can take it and rerun this route. So you probably will get here with like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. You'll be able to chill for 30 seconds, maybe organize your inventory, whatever you want to do. And then boom, you pick it up again. You head right back out to the same place. You pick all 3 of these quests up and you do them and you head back in. So you're going to get about 1,100, maybe 1,200 faction points per turn in. So it's going to be about 3,500-ish, maybe a little bit more for the total of them. So as you can see, you're going to get this very quick, and that's every 5 minutes. So you can grind out that 25k for the 550 epic piece really fast here. As you can imagine, you could get that done in an hour or less. So it's going to be very, very, very nice source of faction points. You will get some XP as well, which is good, so keep that in mind. You could do that while leveling, and it also gives you a little bit of gold, I believe. It's nothing much, so don't count on that one too much. But I hope this place helps. This is probably my best faction grinding spot that I've seen in the game, and I wanted to share that with everyone so that you guys have access. Do keep in mind, as people go here, this is a PvP mission, so it might get dicey, so make sure you bring some friends, and hopefully there's some kind of like truce or something where everybody just leaves each other alone, and we're able to kind of farm and control this stuff. But on the flip side of that, maybe you want to be a bit mischievous and start some trouble. This might be a good idea to go here and start some PvP adventures, so you could definitely force a lot of fights. So I see this being a highly contested area or a highly controlled area, and it's definitely a great spot. If you can get here early ahead of the pack, this place is phenomenal. Thanks for your time, everyone. I appreciate you watching the video. If you enjoyed this content or you found the information helpful, please hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification, and we will catch you in the next video. See you later.